All right, welcome everyone to New Lace Knitting live on the party line. And I am very excited to have lace guru, master lace designer. I don't know how many nice lace things I can say. Romy Hill is joining us
Oh, thank
today
you.
from the high plains of Nevada. So,
Actually, the mountains, to
are you in
be
the?
specific.
Oh, well, there
I'm
you
in the
go.
mountains. Yeah.
So,
I'm in the Sierras.
oh, and today I am in the mountains of North Carolina, so it's an all mountain production today. So,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, so the mountain girls are on the line. So, welcome, Romy. I can't believe this is your first visit here.
Thank you.
How,
I
yeah,
know.
how did
I'm
that
so
happen?
excited to be here.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know.
well, I think Interweave has been hiding you from me, but that's
That could be.
yeah, it's a conspiracy theory. So I'm just really really excited to talk to you about this gorgeous new book, the latest in your body of work. And I think people who knit lace know your name because they see you in all the magazines and they have your books and I think there's such a resurgence in lace knitting. Is that my imagination or is that really going on out there?
I hope it is. I hope it's not just my wishful thinking because I love lace. The geometry and the patterning, it's just endlessly fun to do.
Yeah,
So
and
I'm a
and a
complete lace
lot of
geek.
bang for your buck for gift knitting, which is what I always love is when you can knit something that looks so much more complicated than it is. The people you give it to, of course,
Yes,
only if they appreciate hand knits should they ever get anything from you, but they think you're a
absolutely.
genius when because if they don't knit they can't, they just think you must be the smartest person on the face of the earth if you can knit lace, which
I love that.
yeah, I'll take it.
It's
I'll
like,
take
no, it's
it.
really not that hard. It's just knit and purl.
Yeah, and just, keeping track of where you are. So, which there are a billion
Exactly.
tricks to doing, right? So maybe we'll talk a little bit about maybe if you have some tricks and tips today too. But so how did this book come about?
I have kind of had it in the back of my head for years and years. And I love the way one lace stitch will look different in different weights of yarns and used differently in different garments. And I know I'm using different a lot, but it's amazing to me how completely changed that one stitch can be. And so I've always kind of wanted to do a theme and variations. And I was talking to Lisa Schroyer of Interweave, and she's like, well, did you ever think of maybe doing a video? And I said, well, maybe a book. So she kind of got, she kind of kicked me a little bit, and
In
she
a very
probably doesn't
nice
even
way,
remember
though.
this
She
in
kicked
a
you in
really
a
nice way
nice
because
way.
she is so completely awesome.
Oh, she's
So
been a
I
guest.
doubt
She's
she
been a
is.
guest with her book. So,
Has
yeah.
she? Oh, she is the best. She's got the most incredible aesthetic, and she's completely awesome. And this was just sort of like a conversation in passing, and I just started thinking about it and ended up doing it. So I had a whole lot of ideas already, and then I actually proposed. When I proposed it, I basically had like all the stitch patterns chosen and all sketched up, and um, so they loved it and said, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yay. Well, thank you for that, and thank Interweave for that because this is a really beautiful book, and I
Thank you.
enjoy knitting lace, not like really fine, wedding ring shawl type of lace because honestly, just don't have the patience for that. But I love lace trims and I love chunky lace, which I was so tickled to
I
see
do
so
too.
much of that in the book and because it's you still get all that texture and that weight and it's You don't have to worry so much about
Yes.
wearing it around your dogs. So,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
So
it's like,
true. Or
yeah,
wearing jewelry with it.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, can't wear a bracelet, no rings. You have to just be, because
Yeah.
it's so delicate. So,
Yeah.
I think we should take a look at the book. I have a sneaking suspicion that the people in the room would like to see. It's kind of, I always love these, like, I feel like I get a private tour from the author, which is just the coolest thing in the world. So let's go take a peek at the book. And I also just want to take yep, to make just absolutely making sure that that the recording has started, which it has. So, all right.
Yay.
So I have to say, it's always interesting to me about how, when the editors pick the cover of a book. It's not always my favorite project in the book, but I think, like, this one I think is really hard not to love. This
I'm
particular,
so glad you feel that way.
oh, this is this it just the detail on it. I love the little picot hem on the sleeves and on the bottom of the sweater. It just adds such a lovely feminine detail, and then the wide neck, that shows the tops of your collarbones, which is, I think, such a lovely place on the female body. And yeah,
I do too.
Kate says she loves the collar, which I agree. It just, this is one of those sweaters that you're going to grab out of the closet all the time. It will become one of your favorites. So tell us about this particular design.
Well, I love the yoke construction. So this takes a little part of a stitch pattern and just like the trellis part from the stitch pattern and uses it as the yoke design and for some shoulder shaping because the lace is at a larger gauge. So it actually allows your shoulders to have a little bit more room, and then the stockinette pulls it in a little bit more as it goes down the body. And there's some waist shaping as well. And like you were talking about collarbones, I think that is one of the prettiest parts of the body. And this neckline, like the other necklines in the book, I paid a lot of attention to them because I think the neckline is what frames your face
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
really makes the sweater. So I think a garment can be made or broken by the neckline treatment. So I just wanted something that was really flattering.
And the
And
construction on this, is this top down? Is this bottom up?
it is. It's a top down. It's really a simple construction, completely top down, and then the sleeves are picked up from the armhole. It's a top down yoke construction where you just leave a hole for the sleeves. And the hems are knit straight and then they're sewn at the last step. And after that, you pick up the stitches up around the neckline. And it's hard to see in the picture, but that little line at the base of the collar is an I-cord. And the cord
Oh, pretty.
strengthens the neckline so it won't fall off your shoulders. And there can be a little bit more leeway up at the top in the collar area. So you can actually style that so it's a little bit of like a faux cowl, or you can have it flat like they have it on the cover. And it
So
won't fall off your shoulders.
yeah, very nice. And it's very unusual to see that lace go across the top of the arm, and it's just so pretty. But yeah, and stabilizing it with that little bit of I-cord is really genius. Really, really beautiful sweater.
That is why you can have lace across the top of the shoulders because of that I-cord.
Wow.
Otherwise, it would be indecent. It would be falling
Well,
down.
maybe not when you first put it on, but I suspect within a couple of
Exactly.
hours you were going to be tucking it
Yep.
underneath your bra straps because you can't keep it on. So,
Yep.
yeah, very,
Exactly.
really beautiful. So, and then in the
Thank
sections of the
you.
book, I think the first section is waves and ripples, right? I think that's,
It is. Yes.
yeah. So this I thought was such such an interesting use of that kind of, feather fan ripple sort of look, which I usually see in much more traditional kinds of lace knitting, but how this is with the bodice of this just makes it look so modern and fresh. This is really pretty. Tell us about this design.
Well, it's a top down, and it's just your basic top down raglan, but it's first of all knit in some really special yarn, and it's US grown Shetland yarn, and then spun in the US, and it's spun up by Elemental Effects, and then Brooke of Sincere Sheep dyed it up with natural dyes. And it is the most light, squishy, amazing yarn ever. And this cardigan is so incredibly light. You have to pick it up just to be amazed by it. It's featherweight. So it's based on a traditional hap shawl, which is a Shetland shawl that uses feather and fan, or a variation on feather and fan. And it's like an everyday kind of shawl, like a working shawl that you would wear anytime when you go out to do whatever chores. And I always loved the construction of it, so I was just kind of imagining what it would look like as a sweater. And so this one actually just starts as a regular sweater up top, and then the bottom part kind of becomes a feather and fan shawl. And you can't see here, but the back actually is shawl shaped, so there's a little V in the back, and it creates a little bit of a swing for the cardigan.
Wow. Yeah, and Savannah Gal says she loves the look of the yarn and the colors. Now I'm going to have to go track that yarn down because I'm quite fascinated about having a featherweight sweater.
Oh, it is amazing. It is so light and fluffy.
Yeah, and Mary says this is so lovely. And I love that little bit of color detail in the feather and fan part where you just pick up that little bit of the top color. It really draws the eye. So this sweater is a little bit longer in the back.
It is.
Yeah,
There's a V.
which
Yeah.
is just really on trend now. You see that lower in the back is so popular. I like it because it covers your butt better, but
I
so you don't
know. I
so you
think
don't
so
have a
too.
line right across, kind of the widest part of your backside, which is
Exactly.
always
Yeah,
lovely. Yeah. So really, really,
definitely.
really pretty. I'm gonna have to go track this yarn down now because I feel compelled to knit something with it.
You
And
have to try it.
when I saw this, and I try to always take a mix of things in the book. So people who are thinking about it, because normally, like, if you unless you're lucky enough to be near a yarn store that carries a wide selection of books, um, normally you're kind of going by what's on the cover, and it's a crapshoot. Let's just be honest, it's a crapshoot if you're ordering it from Amazon or someplace else. And so I try to pick a selection so people get an idea of what's inside the book before they buy it. But so I pulled some garments, and I pulled some accessory pieces, and this just drew me. And not only because I do really like feather and fan, and this is the in that section on waves, is the texture on this is really so pretty, and it gives it just so much more depth. I kind of feel like I need to have this because I mean it looks
You
layered.
totally need it.
It looks
Yeah, it is
layered.
actually layered. It is. It's two layers. So part of what you're seeing is in the texture is just simple pearl. So along the edges where it looks like there's a rolled edge, it does roll, but I just use the pearl, just plain pearl stitches and the nature of pearl to make the fabric roll under and give it that texture. So it's one of those things that looks impressive and kind of difficult, but it's really easy. So it starts with an overshawl, the brown part, and then it has that pink stripe in it. And then you continue after the pink stripe to finish up the brown portion. And then the pink under shawl is picked up from the first row of purl bumps of the pink stripe. So it's really easy to pick up the
Oh,
stitches. And then you just knit it straight down. So it does have, I guess it's about maybe a 2.5 or 3 inch overlap of the brown over the pink.
so pretty. And I love the color combination on this. And actually the color palette in this book is really, really pretty, and how it was
Thank
shot and
you.
styled. It's just really it's really lovely. So,
I'm
yeah.
so glad you like it.
Yeah, I don't wear shawls, but I don't this just yeah, this just seems like one of those pieces that you're going to pull out all the time. So, really, really pretty. So this also I loved. This is one of the all overlace pieces, and the nice thing in this book is there's kind of a mix of pieces that are all lace like this, and then pieces like the cardigan we were talking about that it's partly lace, or the cover picture, which is like a little bit of lace. So kind of depends on you know what you're willing what you're willing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, Anne says the shawl's interesting. She thought the construction was really cool, which I do. So this I love layering pieces, especially because if you live up north, you're going to be pulling layers off all winter because the buildings are
So
just
true.
overheated. And then if you live in southern, more warmer or moderate climates, that you could wear this top with nothing under it during the summer, or put it on over a long sleeve top in the wintertime. I mean, so they're just really, really useful pieces. Yeah, Kate says she would love this as a light sweater, and add sleeves to it. She wants to make this one, which, you know, get it, Kate. You can do it. This is within yours. So,
Definitely.
yeah, and Savannah
Definitely.
Gal loves that drapey cowl neck, which I think is flattering on just pretty much everybody. So tell us about this design.
Well, it's a really simple shape, and it's actually kind of a funnel neck. So I did a really super simple shape with the all over lace because I thought that extra shaping on this would kind of be overkill because of the patterning. So it uses a really pretty naturally dyed yarn from Swan's Island, and which reminds me that I forgot to mention Neoma's shawl, which was the last one. That was Anzula. She does amazing colors. But back to this one.
Yeah.
Um, this is I've always wanted to do that shape, and it's like a super simple shape. So there's there's about like 3 inches of shoulder, and then the neck goes up. And if you pulled it straight up over your head, it would probably go about 3 or 4 inches over your head.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it's actually a really long funnel neck, and it drapes like that because it's the all over lace that kind of gives you the negative space between the stitches, and it makes a really nice drape.
Yeah, so because
And
if you did that in a solid stitch, you're going to end up with a lot of fabric around your neck. But this, because it's so
yes,
light, it lays so beautifully. Yeah, and Kate
and
says
it's also a
it
fingering
doesn't
weight.
look that long at all. I wouldn't have dreamt that just looking at it, because it sits so
Yeah,
nicely at her neck.
I actually had to go back and add more to the neck because I was like, oh wow, that really does kind of drape down more than I thought. So yeah, I love a cowl neck. I think
Yeah.
it looks good on almost anyone.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And for those of us who can't stand to wear turtlenecks, it's kind of it
Yeah,
gives you that it gives you that that extra fabric around your face that frames it without choking you.
yeah,
So
yeah.
exactly. So, and I know there are going to be shawl knitters, people who are not like me, who love to knit shawls and wear shawls. And what I really liked about this one, if I did knit shawls, is that it's not that kind of featherweight sort of shawl. You get the changes in the stitches, and you get the beautiful edging, but it actually has some body to it. So,
It does. And that is mostly the yarn. This is quince, and it is just super squishy, wonderful yarn. And it has tons of body and bounce. So it's really just designed to kind of showcase the quality of the yarn. It's got a little bit of sheen to it from the silk content. And so I went sort of OCD on the edging here, and you can't see in this picture, but there's like a leaf detail up around the top edging. And yeah, and then the rest of it is fairly relaxing, and it makes a great lap blanket while you're knitting.
oh, that's
And
nice.
then, yeah, so when you're finished, it's just like a big, squishy, wonderful hug.
Oh, nice. And I
So
think
that one,
there's kind of a resurgence of interest in these kind of heavier weight shawls and I
definitely.
think as a result of the Outlander TV series, which is really kind of shawls and heavy duty cowls and little, shrugs and that kind of thing, is that I'm seeing a lot more, which I think that TV series is really kind of making people want to knit those kind of projects. So, but this is pretty, and that top edge is so unusual, and it just drew me in. So yeah, Paula says this is stunning, and she's loving your yarn choices, which I
Oh, thank you.
agree.
I spent so much time going through all the yarns. It was like this month-long labor of love, trying to pick exactly the right yarn and color for each garment.
Well,
It's
and
so much fun.
when the world is your oyster in terms of yarn choices, I mean, I,
I
even
know.
even going into a good sized yarn store, just into a single store, can be a little overwhelming, and not as much in
Yes.
Florida because our yarn stores tend to be quite small. But I remember visiting my in-laws in Portland, Oregon, and I went into a yarn store that was like the size of an airplane hangar, and I,
Uh,
yeah,
well,
yeah, it was just sensory overload. So, um,
so I live fairly close to Jimmy Bean's,
oh God,
and they let me go. Yeah, they let me go in their warehouse. It
oh
was
no,
amazing.
oh no.
I know. I know.
Yeah, Laura was
It's
here for a couple
crazy.
of the books that she did, and yes, and I will say, and I do love Jimmy Beans because I can call them up and say, hey, can you pull these colors and tell me if they really look okay together? So, they're just really helpful,
Yeah,
especially for shopping
they really
online.
are.
Yeah, I love that shop.
Yeah.
So I'm a little jealous right now, but actually I'm a lot jealous right now, but that's okay. I still like you. So this
Oh, thank you.
this skirt, I'm seeing that the hand knit skirts and the hand knit or the hand crocheted skirts are really, really making a comeback. I think probably in half a dozen books where we've had authors this year, they've done skirts, and for a long time I didn't see them. I saw shawls like wrapped over a skirt, but I never but
Hmm.
the skirts are back in a big way. So tell us about this lovely piece here.
Well, I think the coolest thing about it actually is that it's made out of denim. So it's a recycled denim yarn from old recycled jeans called collage riveting.
Wow.
And it is the coolest yarn. You can just dump it in the washing machine. And um, this one went through the washing machine and the dryer. And it's actually a fairly simple tube. So it's like the top has some minimal shaping, and then you knit all the lace all the way down to the bottom, and then that scallop around the edge is then knitted on lace edging. And then the top part is bound off with an I-cord tube. So you may possibly have seen a pattern I have out called the Chill Cat cowl, and that's a self-published pattern. And I basically took the stitches of the skirt and like the edging and everything, and it's kind of a skill builder for this skirt. So
Oh.
yeah,
You can
it's
work at a smaller
actually
scale
really
before you
fun.
commit.
Mhm. Yeah. But it's actually, I mean, it's one of those things that looks impressive, but it's really easy. So I had a sample knitter do this particular skirt, and she knit it in like 3 days.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was crazy fast. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a very cool version of a denim skirt. Really,
Hmm.
really, really cute. Yeah,
Denim
wow.
skirt and cowboy boots, right?
Yeah, well, you're talking to mountain girls, so yeah, I get it.
Exactly.
It's just really pretty. So this, when we were talking at the beginning about kind of about that chunky, heavier weight yarn with lace, this is exactly what I was talking about. I love the look of lace in the heavier. Yeah, Candy says I
I do
love
too.
love this, which I get. And Lynn says, or C. Lynn says she's got the Virginia City cloche on her needles. And
Oh, that's great.
yeah, she said she's picked up and she's going to be starting the crown later today. You go, girl.
That is
So,
so cool.
yeah, so tell us about this design. Yeah, I want it.
You
Yeah, I
need one.
want it.
Everybody
I
needs
I
one.
think everybody needs one. Yeah. So tell us about this
Definitely.
design.
So this one is knit in an Aran weight, and it's from Sweet Georgia, and it's just a really gorgeous yarn with silk and merino. And the cloche starts out with the band of the twin leaf band, and then the crown and the brim are picked up and knit up and down respectively. And the hat is actually knit in a smaller gauge than the cowl because it needs some structure. The cowl, it's hard to see here, but the band of the hat and the cowl both button. So they have these big old, um, really light metal buttons on them. And I wanted something that was, again, really flattering and would frame the face. So the hat kind of has some shaping in the brim. And then the cowl has a band that goes around it to kind of gather it into the right place. So it creates nice folds of material around the jaw. And really, I think it really brightens the face up.
Yeah, and I love projects because I love buttons, and when I'm elsewhere
Me
in the
too.
world, I tend to buy buttons as
I
souvenir.
do
I remember
too.
once coming through, I went crazy in Paris. I went coming through customs, and of course you have to declare what you have. And I had like $500 worth of buttons. I had gone completely nuts in the
Oh my
sewing
gosh.
district there. And the person at customs thought I had made a mistake. I was like, no, seriously, it's this bag right here has got my buttons in it because I carried it
Oh my
on.
gosh.
But so I love projects where you can highlight like a really special button as well. So it's really pretty. And this is getting a lot of love. Anne says it's brilliant. Marjorie says
Yay.
she needs to make it. Roxy was talking about the silk in the yarn and says she loves both the pattern and the way the yarn works in it. And Diane says her hat is finished. She's working on the cowl now. So,
Excellent.
yeah, so I think you're going to see this one. You'll be seeing this one passing you on the street. So, it's
That is
really,
so much fun.
yeah. But and I love when I really love something in a book and then everybody else loves it too. So, it just validates my taste. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so
we
this
all love that.
exactly. So this sweater is just so beautiful. I especially love the detailing down the side, the outside of the sleeve.
Thank you.
Yeah, tell us about this design.
So this one is knit in Brooklyn tweed, and it's like a super lofty, fluffy white yarn. And because the yarn is a woolen spun, it really keeps its shape well. So that was, again, I kind of used the nature of the yarn to be able to do this design. And it starts from the top and goes, the top part is knit out to the shoulders, and then both sides are actually, the neckline is shaped with short rows. and then everything is picked up and the body is knit down, and then the sleeves are knit on afterwards. And it's basically in a traditional ganzy shape. So like a traditional fishing sweater. So it has a drop shoulder and there's a small underarm gusset. And I actually blocked this on a woolly board. I don't know if you know what that is, but it is how they block like stranded sweaters in Shetland and ganzys.
Is this the pieces
So
of
it
wood
is,
that you can move and put together
yes,
and it creates the sweater shape?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it's just sort of like a play on that really traditional shape because this is all over lace. And, obviously the fishermen didn't wear lace, but
No, and
it
I'm
has
sure
that really nice relaxed shape.
their life was poorer for it. Because I was going to say, I don't think anybody would
I
look
know,
at this and go,
exactly.
"Oh, fishermen." Yeah, I think they were
Yeah,
poorer for
exactly.
not having any lace in their sweaters.
I
So
agree.
yeah, it's so
Everybody
pretty.
needs lace.
I agree. Diane says this is definitely on her to-do list, and Terry says if she could pick a favorite from this book, which she thinks is impossible, this might be the one. So,
Yay.
yeah, it's really pretty.
It
Patty
would
says she
be
thinks it's a,
wearable.
yeah, Patty says it's a very feminine, pretty feminine version of a Gansey, which I agree. So, I guess if they had men
Yay.
working on
Thank
this fishing
you.
boats or women, this is what they would be wearing. So,
Exactly. They'd be way
yeah.
more fashion forward.
Exactly. So this is my favorite project in the book. I think this is my favorite sweater. It has such a yeah. Savannah Gal says, "Ooh, this is pretty." We have the same taste, Savannah Gal. So
Yeah.
yeah, just like the construction and the ease of it. I love the shift in the lower part of the arm. To I don't know why I tend to be drawn to sweaters that have some kind of change in the sleeve. I don't know why, but
I like
uh,
that too.
yeah. So tell us about this one.
So I think this is the sweater in the book that I spent the most time perfecting. And it has kind of an interesting construction because the top part, like all the lace is knit side to side. And then the stockinette is picked up and knit down from there. So it actually starts in the center back and it works out to the sleeves. And this one also has a little bit of an underarm gusset. So there's a little bit more room in the upper sleeve so that you can actually wear something under it.
Oh, nice.
I'm really big on doing that because so many sleeves are so really narrow and then you can't actually wear something under them. So
Yeah, even a t-shirt is going to be too
yeah,
much. Yeah.
exactly. So this one has that room, and it because it's lace and it drapes like it does, um, that stops it from having too much of a bunchy material under the arm. So this one was just so much fun to knit. I had a really fun time doing it. And I have to tell everybody this is the most amazing yarn. It's Shibui Staccato. And it is like, it has this amazing twist to it that gives it almost a pebbly texture when you look at it up close. It's a silk and merino. It is just heavenly. So, and the cardigan is named Willowa, and that is a strong gust of wind that blows down off the mountains over water. So,
Oh man.
just a little trivia tidbit there.
Yeah, and I think when I recover from my holiday knitting, I think I just might have to knit this for myself because I deserve it.
Definitely.
I deserve
You
it.
totally deserve
I
it.
do. Yeah,
You
so
deserve the shibui too.
oh well, I'm a firm believer life is too short to knit with crappy yarn.
I
So,
totally agree.
right? I
That's
mean,
why I chose the yarns in the book. It was like, you know what? I'm going to knit with the best, most fun yarns I can possibly knit with, and I'm only going to use colors I like.
yeah,
So,
and I agree. And I think if you're going to spend that much time with a garment, I told my husband, I said, the difference is, I said, you can have really expensive hobbies, but I figure out, if it's going to take me 200 hours to knit something, That's 200 hours of entertainment. And even if I spent $200 on the
Yes.
yarn, it's $1 an hour and I get a sweater,
Yes.
right? So you just
Yes.
have to amortize it over the period of time it'll take you to knit. So yes,
So
life is
true.
way too short to and you want to be able to wear it and love it and appreciate it when you wear it when it's done as well. So yes,
Yes.
Kate says this is really pretty and Patty says she just loves it. It's very different from anything she's seen, which the same thing I only knit things that I couldn't go into a store and buy. Like I don't ever knit V-neck pullovers or anything, you know, simple like that because
Hmm.
I can go to Target and buy that sweater for $39. So I
True.
knit interesting things that I wouldn't just find at a department store. So this one definitely makes the cut on that one. Roxy says this is so
Yay.
flattering with that horizontal section, and Savannah Gale likes that little bit of drape where it crosses over, which
Yay.
yeah, it's just
I
really
do too. I love a little bit of drape at the neck.
yeah, I think that's just really it's just very flattering. And then again, you get that little bit of collarbone at the top, and which is just very a very
Yep.
feminine thing because men don't have that whole collarbone thing going for them. So
Definitely.
this is one of my favorite everyday sweater shapes, and so I actually haven't seen this done in a lace that made sense to me. And and I have sweaters this shape, plain ones that I just toss on even over
Hmm.
my pajamas in the morning when it's a little bit chilly, and it's just such a wearable shape. I love the mix of textures in this one and the how it creates that edge at the bottom.
Super
It's just
versatile.
yeah, it's really one of
Yeah.
those, multi-season sweaters, which is always great if you're spending time knitting a sweater. You should be able to wear it more than once a year. So
Definitely.
yeah, tell us about this design.
This is one of my favorite lace stitch patterns, and it's an old one, like all of them from the book. And it's just such a beautiful pattern that I wanted the simplest line of a garment possible. And again, this it has longer front halves so that it kind of drapes a little around your neck. And you can't see it in this picture, but it actually has an asymmetrical closing. So there's a button that you can button one of the sides, and then you can either leave the other side open or you can put a pin on it, and it just kind of drapes around your neck. And both the front and the back are this really pretty twining lilies pattern, and the shoulders are plain stockinette, and then you have a plain stockinette 3/4 sleeve. So really super minimal. There's no shaping really. There's some shaping in the sleeves, and then there are side vents so that it doesn't kind of swing out and make your hips look wider.
Oh, God forbid.
And I know. And then the stitch pattern actually creates that really pretty fluting around the bottom edge.
So
This
pretty.
one is a bottom up, by
Yeah.
the way. I just saw Paula ask a question there.
Yeah. So
And it's yeah, it's knit bottom up, and it's it's actually a really relaxing, simple knit. And oh, it's knit out of dandelion from Madeline Tosh, and
oh,
that is a linen and merino blend. And
oh.
oh my gosh, the drape is incredible.
Yeah, and this
Totally
will be one of
incredible.
those sweaters that just gets softer and softer as you wash it as well from the linen and the
Yes,
yarn. So it's
yes.
really pretty. So yeah, so this yeah, so Kate says she loves that wrap front look, which I agree. I love that too. And Patty says there's so many great pieces in this book. And I will tell you, Patty, I had a hard time pulling 10 because they're all great. So this is one of those books
I'm glad
that
you had a hard time.
I did. I had a very hard time, and that's not always the case, but I, I had to really contain myself because otherwise, I would have kept you here for 3 hours. So yeah, it was tough. I had a hard
We
time.
would have been hoarse.
Yeah, it would have been we would have been here all day, and I wouldn't have played golf this afternoon, and everybody else would have missed hours of work. So yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then Paula says this is just beautiful, which I agree. And it looks like
Thank
the lace
you.
repeat is actually, pretty short in terms of kind of getting your rhythm down when you're
It is.
working this. Yeah,
Yes.
that's always
And you can
helpful.
make it longer, super, super easy to resize it. Really simple.
Yeah, so pretty.
So
So,
there are a couple of people who wanted a longer, like a coat length, and that's super easy.
oh, yeah, that would definitely look nice as a coat as well. If you had, that kind of time and patience before you have to feel like
Yes.
you are compelled to start another sweater. So, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And I pulled this one because, where I was saying I don't knit anything that I could just go buy in the store. And
Hmm.
it's really, to me, it's so magical how just a little bit of lace or a little bit of color work or a little bit of cabling turns, what is, a simple sweater into something really special, which I just love the lace trim around the neck on this. So tell us about this project.
So, like you said, it is a really super simple shape. It's kind of a little bit of a throwback. It's almost like a 40 shape. It has a lot of, it's bottom up, and it has a lot of ribbing around the hip and waist. So in lieu of waist shaping in the stockinette section, that ribbing in through the hip there takes it a little bit and cuts down on extra fabric that you might get around the waist. And it's knit in the round up to the bottom of the arm side and then knit front and back. And that little lace panel there is the same twining lilies pattern from the last sweater. And it's used here just for a little bit of trim around the neck. And it just kind of softens up the neck and brings all the attention to your face.
Yeah.
And that shallow V is one of my favorite shapes. I think it looks flattering on everybody. And then the sleeves have a little bit of a gather up top. So it's a really traditional shape. And just that little tiny piece of lace around the neck really makes it into something special. And hard to see, this is actually, this is a sock yarn from Zen Yarn Garden, and it has some sparkle in it.
Oh,
So
nice.
it looks really, I could see this worn out with a like a pencil skirt and pumps or something like that, or you can wear it with jeans. It really works with a lot of different types of outfits.
Yeah, and I think because this definitely has that sort of a vintage vibe with the deep ribbing around the hips, which is really kind of a traditional sweater girl kind of look. And then
Mhm.
this is my
Yeah,
favorite length of sleeves on sweaters. I love that,
me too.
kind of above the or just
Yeah,
below the elbow length because it's
me
nice if you're
too.
wearing like a beautiful bracelet or it's just a very feminine look and the little bit of gathering on the top. Give it really has kind of that vintage sweater girl vibe without you having it to have it really tight across the chest and wearing a very pointy bra underneath.
Yes,
So, which
exactly.
would like
But you could
they didn't
still see.
yeah, they didn't style it like that, which I appreciate, but
I know.
but you could, you
But I could
could and this
still
would look
imagine Lana Turner in it.
exactly, exactly.
That
So,
would be hilarious.
yeah, Savannah Gal says she likes this a lot. It's just versatile and easy to wear, which I agree. And this becomes one of your like favorite go-to sweaters. And Kate says she loves how it's a little bit understated, which, it just, there's nothing precious about the sweater. It's just really, it's like elegant and modern and all at the same time. And Savannah Gal says, "Yeah, jeans. Wear it with jeans." But even this would
Yeah,
be cute with like cigarette pants or a
it
pencil
would.
skirt, or I mean, a big chunky
Mhm.
bracelet. You're good to go, right? So
Yes, you
yeah,
could wear it with almost anything.
absolutely. Which I think is the hallmark of a timeless design. So I know people are going to want to keep track of you, and as soon as I can get to the right screen here, which I think, did I get to it? Because my control panel's right in front of it. There you go. So I know, Romy, you have a new website coming up, right? So you're working
I
on
do.
that.
Yeah.
So for people
Yeah.
who want to keep track, they can always, if they like your Facebook page or they follow you on Twitter, they're going to be able to know when your new website's
Hmm.
up. But
Definitely.
but like all the hip designers now are all on Instagram, and which is nice because what we do is so visual, and a
It
picture
is. I
tell
love Instagram.
a picture's worth 1,000 words. So if you want to join Romy's 8,689 followers on Instagram, that that you can follow her at Romy Designs and check out what she's working on, get the skinny on that. For people who are on Ravelry, of course, she has a designer page where you can go and browse her 193 designs so far, and you can also see all the projects in the book, all of them, not just the ones that I showed you today. And also, Romy, you have a group, right, on
I
Ravelry
do.
for people
I
knitting
have
their
a forum.
projects.
It is a really super friendly, wonderful place, and tons of helpful, friendly, kind people there. I have great moderators, and so if you ever have a problem with a pattern or questions or anything, come to my forum, and like 20 people will fight each other to help you. It's a really cool place.
Yeah, and Paula says it's the best form on Ravelry. And I have to say, there's something about knitters that I think may be unique in the universe, probably knitters and crocheters, is that, if you go and take a class, and I practiced law for 25 years. I was a trial lawyer in my earlier life, and I will say I was so taken aback by how really nice knitters are, and I think maybe all lawyers
I
and
bet you were.
politicians should learn to knit, and they would be
Yes.
nicer people. But the is that if you take a class, and it's interesting to watch that, when you have somebody who's less experienced sitting next to somebody who's more experienced, that more experienced person will help the person next to them
Yes.
for the entire
Yes.
class. Like, people, they're just so helpful, and they want you to be successful
Yes.
at it. It's so
And they won't mind
non-competitive.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's so awesome. We have the greatest community.
I mean, it's
We are
really, it's amazing. I went
super
to a class
lucky.
once where somebody asked what was on the edge of a rude question of the instructor, and you could see all the other people in this class, and there was probably 50 people in the room, starting to like move away from the person who asked the
Oh,
rude question. It was almost like she was being cut from the herd, because she wasn't one
oh
of
my God.
us, kind of thing. I loved it. I absolutely
Yeah.
loved it. So, but yeah, so it was just interesting to watch that. It was like, oh no, we're nice people here. We don't do that. So I really,
That is very cool.
I enjoyed it. So, and of course, Romy is teaching on Craftsy, which does such a
Yep.
great job with their classes. And you just watch for the sale, and they have like great sales on classes as well, which
They
I'm
do.
sure,
It is a really fantastic platform.
I mean, terrific. And then you can take lace classes directly, which, and
Hmm.
then start a project from the book. Awesome. So, and then on Facebook, you can follow Designs by Romy on Facebook. And that, of course, is where you'll find out too about the new website coming up. But you can see here, it's like
Yep.
all the news. So,
Yep.
and you can also follow her on Twitter, also Romy Designs. So we're trying to make it easy, right? It's all the same names, so you can
I
you can
try.
find her. Yeah. So, or in a pinch, you can just type in Rosemary Hill, and there you have it. So now I know everybody in the room and everybody who comes in to see this is gonna want this book. which I'm lucky I
Everyone
have
needs
one.
one,
So, but
right?
yes,
Yeah.
so yeah, Savannah Cal says it's crazy. You have to keep up with all the social media, which I agree. But so if you don't win today, we're going to have a second chance to win later this week on Planet Pearl's Facebook page. But if you don't win, you want to call your local yarn store and see if they have it in stock. We definitely want to support our local yarn stores. And if they don't, you can also help support Planet Pearl by going to our book tag, which is right here on the menu, and you'll see it's actually the first book on the list here is New Lace Knitting. And if you
Yay.
yeah, if you click on it, you'll see there's a link to go to Amazon and help support Planet Pearl. Oh, and by the way, everything, if you click on a link at Planet Pearl to go to Amazon, everything in your shopping cart, actually, we get a little tiny commission on. It doesn't even you don't even have to buy a book, and we can do that. But yeah, so when you go to buy the book, then do all your Christmas shopping while you're there. So why not? So so you're gonna so in and tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Thursday. So Thursday, yeah. So we'll have a contest running as well for random drawing for a second copy. Thank you, Interweave, for being so generous. So we'll be giving away a copy on the Planet Pearl Facebook page. But you guys aren't going to leave the room because you know what's coming up. I'm about to give away a book. And but I do want to thank you, Romy, for being here today. It's been
Oh,
such
thank
a
you so much for having me.
oh, it's been such a delight to meet you. Kate says thank you. I mean, it's such a fabulous book, and I hope it's going to
Thank
be
you. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks to everybody for coming to listen.
oh
This was great.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So you're getting love. So if you missed any part of today, then of course you can come back and watch this up on YouTube shortly because it'll be posted up today. And boy, you are getting lots of love in the room. And
Oh, thank you.
yeah, it's a really, really, it's a beautiful, beautiful book. And they did such a nice job of it at Interweave with the styling and the photography. I mean, it just really does your designs justice, which is saying something. So, so I think there's going to be you're going to be seeing a lot of lace. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being here. And Paula, you're very welcome. I always enjoy meeting authors as well. So, because I'm a fan as much as you guys are. And so thank you again. We'll be
Oh,
looking
thank
forward
you.
to your next project. People in the room, do not go away because you are about to get a chance to win a book.